So, after trying to record this fucking video like 10 times in a row and every single time being unhappy with the result, here I go trying to record this for a 10th time. Hopefully it isn't dog shit. Anyways, to get to the point, without too much of a preamble, I basically am making this video because my damn near non-existent audience is no longer completely non-existent, and I actually got a comment on my so far most popular video, which stands at a whopping like 4 likes last time I checked to 1 dislike, and that's my video about why I think romance is mostly bullshit. And the comment on the video, they said that they liked my video for the most part, but they were curious as to like what it is that made me specifically give up on dating. And because I don't really have fuck all else to really talk about, I decided I'll just make a video about that to whoever the fuck happens to be interested in some random guy on the internet talking about why he gave up on dating. So I assume one person on the fucking internet is interested, and that's the person who wrote that comment. So this is for you, and anybody else who happens to come across this and is for some reason interested in why I gave up. So essentially, like, to kind of just like not make like, I'm not going to go through like a whole detailed history of my fucking love life or whatever. Not that there's really too much to it. Well, there's some stuff to it. But basically, like, just to kind of get to the highlight points, I've never really been in what I'd consider like a proper relationship. I've had like at most like a 9-month-long situationship or whatever the fuck. It was never committed. It was never officially anything exclusive. Whatever. So that's the closest I've had. Just whatever. It's fine. It is what it is. And that's not the reason why I gave up on dating. It wasn't because like I just couldn't really find anything stable. It's more the fact that it's really 2 major factors I realize. One factor, actually kind of 3 factors. Yes, 3 factors. So one major factor is that I have always been pretty romantically incompetent. I've always just had like a hard time really understanding kind of like the nuances of dating. I very much lack, and this is going to make me sound like an incredibly cringy boomer, but I very much lack what the young hip Gen Z folks call Riz. Go ahead, feel free to cringe at me saying that, but it's true. I'm not a Rizzler. I don't have the fucking Riz. Yeah, I'm not a suave guy at all when it comes to dating. I don't know. I'm not good at seducing women at all. I'm not good at like coming off in that kind of sexual confidence type of way or nothing like that. I'm not, and it gets even worse if I'm like genuinely infatuated by the woman. I don't think that's a super rare phenomenon by any means. As far as like my ineptitude and like picking up on like social cues and stuff in dating, there's a part of me that's tempted to say like, oh, maybe that's just because I'm just like part of my what I've been speculating of my potential neurodivergence, me maybe being on the spectrum, but I feel like it's cringy to indulge in that shit. I feel like a lot of people nowadays are doing kind of armchair neurodivergent diagnoses and stuff like that, without going to a professional. So I don't want to fall back on that without actually going to a doctor and officially getting a confirmation of that I am on the spectrum, have some other fucking neurological quirk or whatever. I mean, I know I definitely have some kind of neurological quirk, but I don't know, to say that I definitely am on the spectrum is just irresponsible and goofy. In fact, the only reason it even occurred to me that I might be is just because I've had other people speculate that, but, you know, they're not doctors, so I'm not going to fucking rely on that. So I don't know, maybe one day I'll bother. But then I even think about, like, why should I even bother doing that? Because, like, is it going to really fucking change anything? Let's say I do go to a doctor, and let's say maybe they do confirm that I am indeed on the spectrum. Like, what am I going to do? Start wearing a fucking badge? Like, and say, like, look at me, I'm autistic. What's that gonna fucking change? Like, am I gonna try and, like, cringily use that? I mean, I already said this actually in a previous video. Like, will I use that as, like, a get out of jail free card and be like, yeah, sorry, I was, like, really goddamn awkward to you, specifically, like, on dates and stuff like that, but, you've gotta be patient with me, because I have autism or something. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm still gonna be me. So, whatever. Like, why do I have to fucking put a label on myself? I'll just be myself. Who gives a fuck if I am or am not on the spectrum? It's just silly. I don't know. Like, a lot of that's just kind of goofy. I think the only time really like a autism diagnosis really matters is if it's like somebody who's like really severely on the spectrum, then it makes sense to like get a proper doctoral confirmation for it. But if you're somebody like me who's functional, whatever the fuck my brain quirk is, like, who gives a shit? I'll just be myself. Anyways, that total aside. Just to get back to my point. Yeah, so I've just always been a fucking awkward person in dating. I always have. I feel like I just kind of any romantic successes I've had in my life, I feel like I just kind of slipped into it, kind of on dumb luck. I don't know. I guess maybe sometimes some women thought maybe I guess they just thought I was attractive enough to put up with it, or maybe like every once in a while put up with my weird personality. Maybe someone has even found it charming. I don't know. A lot of times, like, getting drunk helped. I guess that gave me courage and stuff. I don't know. It's always just been, like, awkward and forced. And it's always felt uncomfortable to me, pretty much. Either uncomfortable or just underwhelming. I've almost never really, when I'm really honest with myself, I've never really enjoyed the dating world. I never have. Like, I feel like when I've been successful, it's a lot of times been with somebody I'm not super infatuated with necessarily, and then a lot of times, like, if I do get successful with somebody I'm infatuated with, there's one person in particular who I like was really infatuated with, and I was with for like a very brief period of time, but they ended up being like a total jerk to me, so that really fucked with me. Like the one, and it also kind of put a lot of like notions in question in my brain, which is sort of the second reason why I gave up. So first reason is I'm just awkward, and just a funny little, God, this is like a whole scattered blah 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 video, but whatever, fuck it, I'm just gonna post it up, flaws and all, because I'm tired of re-recording it. But anyways, just to put like a nice little goofy anecdote as to how fucking awkward I can potentially be on dates. Feel free to laugh at me for being a bumbling moron. But essentially, like, there was one person I had matched with at some point on Bumble, and she was like out of town or something visiting her mom, so she wasn't able to like meet up on a date for like about a week or so after we had like matched on Bumble. So we actually decided to just kind of call each other and talk on the phone and stuff like that, and just before we actually met up in person. I was like, whatever, fair enough. And we actually had like really good chemistry on the phone. We were getting along really well. We would talk for like hours and hours on end, and then eventually, you know, like a week went by, she was back in town, and we agreed to like go and like meet up for a date. And we meet up, and like immediately it's awkward as fuck. It's like super strange. You know, we go from having great chemistry, not even in texting, but literally talking on the phone, to just like, what the fuck, this is weird as shit. Like, just the vibe was totally off. And I was thinking at the time it was just because we maybe like exhausted conversations like on the phone. But whatever it was undeniably awkward. We both kind of acknowledged that. And see, in my brain, I thought that like a funny, cute little way to like ease the tension of the situation was to jokingly tell her like, you know what, like, let's just like stare at each other really awkwardly until we like just break the tension, you know? And I just thought it would just be kind of funny. So we kind of did that. She sort of did that, and I like really committed to the bit. I just like was like really just staring at her. But I guess the way I did it, I just came off more creepy than like actually funny or charming. Because she like at one point she kind of like awkwardly laughed, and I just thought like, okay. And then at one point I'm like, okay. I just stopped when she started kind of awkwardly laughing. But the reason why I know that I came off as more just weird as fuck to her is basically about like 15 minutes into our date or something. Like, I get her a drink. She starts coughing, and I'm like, are you all right? And she's like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like there was something in the drink or something. Like, I feel like I'm having an allergic reaction. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So I like kind of asked the bartender, like, oh, what are the ingredients, you know, in the drink? It's like, just to make sure she doesn't have any allergen. She's like, oh, I don't know. None of those should have caused an allergy, but I'm like really not doing well. I'm coughing a lot. Like, I think I have to call the date short and go home. I feel like some of you are probably understanding where this is going. Needless to say, she went home, and I went home too. I'd sent her a text just to make sure she was all right afterwards. And she said, like, yeah, I'm doing all right now, but I don't want to see you again. So, yeah, you guessed it. She fucking faked a fucking allergy attack to get away from my awkward ass. And I further confirmed that when she said, like, hey, look, don't take this the wrong way, but you're literally the most awkward guy I've ever been on a date with before. So I was like, Jesus, fucking ouch. But then she followed it up by saying, like, yeah, but, like, we could still be friends, though. And I'm just like, It's kind of a weird fucking way to start a friendship after like saying that. Um, yeah, so that never went anywhere, and I was just like, nah. I was like, okay, that's just weird. So whatever. Anyways, my point is, yeah, I was awkward as shit. Totally not my intention, but I feel like that was like the worst example of that. But I feel like I've had other instances of that where I just have like where I just have been unintentionally weird or awkward, and it's just because I get nervous and stuff, and it makes them feel weird. It makes me feel weird, and I'm just like, why am I constantly trying to do this? It just isn't working. Like, I'm not a fucking suave guy at all. I don't pick up on like these social cues well enough in dating. Okay, so that's one big factor. I'm awkward as shit. That's factor number one. All right. This video is at 10 minutes. I feel like I'm just going to get to the point. I don't want this to go back past 20 minutes. So that's factor number one. Factor number two is I realized I don't really tend to go for a lot of times. I don't tend to be attracted to really the right types of women a lot of times. Like, I had opportunities in the past that I know of for sure that I could have gone for like much more stable, healthy choices well, I guess because it was high school. There were girls at the time, not women, but whatever. But then like in college, there was another one, at that time, woman, who I could have gone after and who was like another healthy, stable choice. And each of those options, I didn't go for them because they were too healthy and stable. I was constantly like attracted to like emotionally unavailable women. And I think the reason why for that is I kind of had this like formative experience when I was 14 years old. There was this one of my fellow classmates. Like, I was friends with her for like a whole year. We were just proper platonic friends. She had a boyfriend, and I wasn't like trying to do anything. I wasn't trying to get her to leave her boyfriend or nothing. We were just genuinely platonic friends. And then at one point, like, her and her boyfriend had some like argument or something, and they broke up. And then we were like, shortly after that, we like went back to my place one afternoon. It was just me and her, no parents around. We like started like making out and stuff like that. And basically, she wanted to like take things further. She wasn't a virgin at the time. I was, and I was not ready to go further at that time. 14 was still too young for me. But it was like fine. It was just like, all right, whatever. So we just made out a bit. We didn't take anything further. Next day, I come back to school, and sure enough, she's back with her boyfriend again, just making out with him like nothing had fucking happened. Needless to say, I was really upset. It was fucking weird. I thought like things were gonna progress further between us. Despite the fact that I just considered her a friend, after that happened, I suddenly like kind of started really developing strong feelings for her pretty quickly, and I got really upset over it. I'm ashamed to admit that I cried about it, which is just embarrassing. And needless to say, our friendship was over after that. And I feel like that just kind of put a formative thing on my mind where I just was always, maybe like on some Freudian subconscious level, like I don't have mommy issues or daddy issues, but I have that 14-year-old heartbreak issue. And I've just been constantly just going after women that are just unavailable emotionally in some way. So I don't know. That's my speculation. That's my psychoanalysis for why I'm like that. I'm trying to not be like that now, but I guess I'm going too far because I've just given up entirely. I'm not even trying to go for like healthy options now. I'm just going for no one. But that's one big reason why I think dating has always been just kind of bullshit to me. Is like I just keep getting drawn to women that I'm just like, it's an unhealthy option, but for some reason they just give me that spark, and it's stupid. And again, that kind of goes into what I said in that like romance is bullshit video, where I said that like a lot of people just get addicted to people that are just not good for them. And I was not just projecting. That's me. Like, I would get addicted to people that I knew were not good for me. And it's fucking dumb. I mean, it's weird. It's weird. But it's like, I don't know. You can't really fake the chemistry, but I guess, I don't know, if I ever stop being jaded and give this another go, maybe I can rewire my stupid brain to actually find women that are just stable and normal, attractive again. I don't know. Hopefully I'm not a lost cause, but honestly, who gives a fuck? Because like I said, I gave up on dating, so it's a moot point right now. Anyway, so that's that. And then I think the third reason why I gave up on it all is I just don't find it fun. Like, I just don't find it fun. I've realized a big reason I was pursuing it was just a need for validation, like a lack of like self-love, out of just insecurity, out of just boredom, you know. But it was never really like a positive experience for me. Like, I don't really like going on dates that much for the most part. I don't like the weird, awkward banter on fucking dating apps and stuff. I don't like those awkward conversations. They were kind of fun at first, I guess, but they lost their novelty really fucking quickly. First dates definitely lost their novelty quickly. It's just none of it's just fun to me. I don't like having to like try and read women and understand them and stuff like that and get like what I don't just none of it's fun to me. It's just weird. It's like it's a game. It's definitely a game, but like and this might be a corny analogy, but I liken it more to like Squid Game instead of like a game of checkers. And if like dating was more like a game of checkers, I'd be all for it. Like if it was just kind of a more lighthearted, casual, fun game where it was just good vibes for the most part, yeah, sure. But it doesn't feel that way to me. Like it always feels like it's just kind of like I'm on edge. I'm just always like nervous about like, am I being too awkward? Am I being weird? Am I like being unintentionally creepy? Am I like being charming enough? Am I not? And then let's say like things do work out with somebody, like how long is it gonna keep working out with them? Are they really who they say they are? Are they gonna end up being weird to me at some point? Am I gonna end up fucking things up somehow? It's just I can never feel like I can relax. And that like I mean not to get like too graphic, but like that extends to even like the physical aspect of it. I'm constantly self-conscious of like my performance. Like I'm like, am I good at kissing? Am I good in bed? And like I just never can relax and actually have fun. It's just like I'm constantly having like performance anxiety in every fucking regard, in like the physical aspect, the like interpersonal aspect. It's like it's shit. It's all just shit. Like I don't like it. Honestly, like at the end of the day, the only thing in my opinion that's better about being in a relationship with a woman over being friends with her is the fact that you get to have sex with her. And even that's not great because I get nervous about, I get like the whole performance anxiety and nervousness. Like I'm always nervous about like, oh, I got to make sure I perform well. And I just can't, I very rarely am able to like just relax and actually enjoy the act of making love. So that's the thing is like, I mean, truth be told, I don't really know if I've ever, maybe with very few occasions have I ever really enjoyed sex in my life. It's always just been like, it's just always felt weird to me. Like I've just never been able to really relax, and I don't know. There's always been just this like to it. So that's it. That's the third reason. It's just like I don't enjoy it. It's not fun. I don't know. Apparently there's other people out there that just have fun just dating, just even casually, just going on first dates and constantly and just going through a whole peruse of people to date. And I can't think of anything more goddamn exhausting and soul crushing than doing that. I'm just like, I fucking hate first dates and stuff like that now. I don't think it's fun. For a while I kind of humored it, but it got old. Like I said, it got old for me quickly. So that's reason number 3. It's just like, it's not fun. It's not fun. I realized I was mostly doing it out of validation. I'm more confident in myself now. I still got a ways to go. I'm definitely not totally confident. But once I got more confident in myself, once I realized I was doing it for validation, it just kind of killed my motivation to do it anymore. I'm just like, who the fuck am I proving this to? Others? I don't give a fuck what other people think about my dating life. I don't personally give a fuck about my dating life either. So just why bother anymore? I don't know. The whole landscape is just really awkward and strange to me, and I just am tired of wading through it. So I gave up. And that's pretty much it. I guess I would tack on like one more fourth aspect of what really kind of just also like sort of sealed the coffin with another nail for me is I've kind of looked at like a lot of other people in relationships, and I definitely have seen some people in like truly healthy relationships. Like like I said in that last video, I'm not a total cynic about romance. I do acknowledge there's definitely healthy relationships out there. I'm not some black-pilled cringe lord who thinks that like all relationships are secretly shallow bullshit. No, there are definitely healthy, proper, wholesome relationships. I won't deny that. But the thing is, I've seen that like, I don't know if I'd say I'd say like the majority of relationships are either just like mediocre or honestly just kind of shitty. That's just kind of my perspective of it. I don't know for sure because I'm not in these people's minds with each other, but just from like as an outside observational standpoint, I just don't see a lot of people whose lives are like necessarily tangibly benefited by being in a relationship. I'd say most are like just kind of okay. I don't think most relationships are necessarily like shit, but I just think like most are just like meh. Like it just kind of becomes like their new normal after a while. So I'm looking at these people and I'm like, I don't think that like once that initial buzz wears off, I don't think that they're really any happier than I am necessarily. And if anything, they've just kind of changed their problems. Like they've changed the problems that come with being alone with like the problems that come with being with somebody else. You know, they've solved certain problems in the process, of course, but it's just made the gateway to new ones. You know, it's more complicated living a life with another person than it is being by oneself. Like it does kind of suck to be alone, but there's a freedom and like an sort of easiness that comes to that as well. So I don't know. That's pretty much it. I think I'm just going for the option that's easier for me. It's just easier to be by myself, not having to worry about somebody else in my life like that. And that's kind of it. It's that simple. I think dating is awkward as fuck for me. I've never been very good at it. I don't really want to get good at it because I don't have fun doing it. And being alone is just easier. And I have more control over myself than I do over another person. And I don't want to control another person. So that's kind of it. It just feels difficult to like rely on another person for like emotional support and stability in my life. Like I don't want to have that dependency. I don't know. I mean, I know there's ways that people can be in relationships without being codependent, but it's pretty hard to do that. So at least to some degree, it's pretty hard not to do that. But anyways, that's kind of the gist of it. Hopefully the person who left that comment sees this video. Hopefully this was a legitimate enough answer for you, but that's kind of the gist of it. And yeah, I don't know, I guess maybe I'll tack on one little bit more. I know this video's not gone on too long compared to my other ones, but fuck it, I'll just tack on one little tidbit more. And there's the practical aspect of dating that just doesn't interest me, and that's just like, I have no interest in starting a family or having kids, but you know what, I think I actually talked about that in another video. So there's even the practical aspect that I don't care about. I got no time limit on me about like, oh god, I gotta like, I mean, I'm a guy, so I have a longer time in that regard, but I got no like pressure to be just like, oh, I need to find a woman and get married and have kids with her as soon as possible because I'm in my 30s now. I don't care about any of that. So I don't know. And I know like other people might say like, oh, but don't you want to like, you know, who's going to be at your side when you get older and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, we all die alone. You know, even if you have like, technically, even if you get like a romantic partner, even if you have like a family, like death is a very solitary activity, you know, it is. God, this is going to get into like a whole other topic, but I'll just say briefly, just like I've had a smattering of moments in my life where I've had like near-death experiences. And I just know like one in particular where like I'm pretty sure I had a near-death moment. I don't know, the circumstances aren't exactly the most flattering, but yeah, I just know that the last thing that was on my mind was my surroundings. I was very inwardly oriented when I was in that state. My surroundings kind of dissipated. So it doesn't really matter if you're surrounded by other people, you know, your loved ones or otherwise. When you're dying, it's just you. You know, it's a very solitary experience to die. So I know this had like a very kind of dark turn suddenly at the end, but I don't know, a lot of people talk about that when it comes to like finding a life partner and having a family, is like they don't want to be alone on their deathbed. I'm like, dude, everybody's alone on their deathbed. You know, even if you're not, wherever we go after we die, whether that's oblivion or somewhere else, nobody's going with you. So it doesn't matter if you fucking have a life partner or have a family. Death is for you and you alone. Again, I know, weird that I don't know what this went from fucking the goofiness of relationships to me talking about our fucking inescapable mortality. But, you know, that's just the way it had to go. And yeah, hopefully that video was at least somewhat interesting to the guy who left that comment. And if you're not that person and you like this video, I don't know, be sure to leave me a fucking like and maybe even a nice comment and a subscribe to my tiny little YouTube channel. Or don't, you know? Yeah, don't. I don't know. Downvote it. Dislike it. Hate it. Leave a shitty comment. Tell me to go unalive myself and call me a little beta loser with no riz and who's fucking lame at life. Or don't. Do whatever you want. You know, I'm an American. I believe in freedom. And this video has gone on too long. Why am I still talking? I need to shut the fuck up and end this video. But anyways, good night, everybody. May the force be fucking with you. Yeah. Yeah. What the fuck?